this was the right time that we felt with all the pieces in place. We have a very strong plan for an all-electric future. We're in the midst, and this year we'll start really rolling out our 30 EVs by 2025 and being competitive. And it was really important as we looked around and said, this is something that it's not just a one company effort. It really is everybody in. And if we're going to collectively transform the world in which we live. So that was the genesis of the idea. And the second part of it was to help people think differently about EVs. I think the way the majority of people think about them in the past has been very constrained and gee, they seem hard and difficult. And really what we're communicating is that the EVs as a platform will absolutely change the driving experience, the ownership experience, everything. We really gathered around the idea of what can we produce. We are a manufacturing company. So I think many of you have heard about the ventilator story. That was not only pivotal because it was really the right thing to do and a way to contribute in really tough times that were very scary if we all think back to April a year ago.
Yeah.
But it set a new benchmark for us, which we call ventilator time. From the first meeting till the time we actually produced the first ventilator off our new ventilator assembly line was 30 days. So now that's been the challenge for everything that we're looking at. We're like, you have a marketing problem, you can't solve that in 30 days. You need to work in ventilator time. So, you know, we're all kind of pushing on that. We're also continuing to produce PPE. So we've made over 26 million face masks. We've delivered those to frontline workers and patients along with all of our own employees. We continue to do that. That's all volunteer. It's quite amazing. I mean, people are really going above and beyond, putting their own time into this so that everyone can be safe. During the whole pandemic period and the social injustice, it really brought everyone closer. I think we've had a lot of us are talking about this, the in-depth conversations, the focus, and even though we're separated physically, you know, how we're staying closer together. We were staying a lot closer to our customer as well. And that really, for us, was also a pivot point in the transformation overall. I think if any of you saw the CES content that we put out, it is much more human, much more directed directly at each of us in terms of what we can be doing, how we understand technology that's going to shape our worlds in the future, et cetera. And that comes from that really heightened consumer empathy and what we're thinking about. So I think it combines those two things because we've got to use data and we have to have all that, but unless we use it in an incredibly human way and understanding, it won't have the impact or the relevance, and we need to stay focused on that. We've all struggled with the fact that, you know, we know that our target audiences are a certain size, a subset of a 25 to 54-year-old audience, right? But the tools haven't been there. So now we're activating high propensity audiences. We're able to target either for each vehicle line, certainly for each brand, but now down to each vehicle line, what the high propensity audiences are. It does include not just people, it includes conquests as well, so that, you know, we can look across the board and make sure that it's wide enough, but it is far more focused than what general media buying was just even a couple of years ago. We're actually establishing pretty strong swim lanes between what the GM brand, which is our corporate brand, does and who they target. We have a specific high propensity audience called modern citizens that are potentially more open to EVs, are more interested in community and in the future, understand that climate change is real and that we have to do something collectively about it. Mm-hmm. So we do that, and we have the GM brand campaign, Everybody In, to sort of start the foundation, start the movement. And then behind that, the vehicle brands will come in as they have their specific target audiences and the vehicle brands to launch. So they really work interactively, leveraging off each other. Absolutely. So our data partners are absolutely critical to our business. We see a lot of needs. We work closely with our research team to continue to digest the data and complete the customer profiles and the information. So I think we're viewing ourselves as sponges continually right now. We are, because there's still a lot to learn. I don't think anyone's perfected exactly how we use all the data and what is most meaningful. So it's really important for us to continue to work with everyone. That we shifted our focus, not just from telling the stats of the vehicle, which are important, but it was very clear that we had to be more entertaining, and really speaking to our customers directly instead of having, a long list of data or information. And so we partnered in many different ways for all of our reveals over the last year. And I think that's shown that we were able to achieve unbelievable scale. When we launched the Hummer EV, we did that in an entertaining way. It really made a difference. We worked with LeBron James, who has really, from his social followers, he's the equivalent of a good-sized media channel himself. But we have a continued cadence on EVs. So, the next one up is the Bolt. We have the Bolt EV and a new EUV. So really exciting, and that's coming up very soon in February. Later, we have nameplate refresh, with the Buick Envision launch in March. So that's another critical vehicle for us. And then we launched several cars and crossovers last year that will continue to have a lot of focus. So Trailblazer and the Cadillacs, the new Cadillacs, the CT4 and CT5. A lot of news just made on that for the Blackwings and their performance models. And the fact that there's a manual, we brought back a manual in a car. I cannot wait to drive it because I miss that actually. And I keep telling my son, he's got to learn how to drive manual. It's just not right if you don't know how to do that.
Everybody should.
Yeah. And then, of course, the Hummer EV, the truck launches at the end of this year. So we have that to look forward to as well. Formally, we're trying to have quarterly GM media days so that there's an opportunity to come in. And then if anyone does have a good idea, we've established a system to try to help. And if you don't know it, but if you contact Kara, there's actually a portal. If there's some idea that just isn't in the general course, there's a portal to be able to submit those ideas so that we can get them faster to the right people across the board to make sure it gets to the right vehicle brand and the team that would be looking at it in a relevant manner. So all you have to do is contact your Kara rep. They can give you that information for that portal, or we can send it out later. And I think that's also a really helpful way to continue if there's things that we're missing through the general course of discussions and there's an extra idea, make sure it goes through there so that we can really take a look at it. We also launched what we call our virtual showrooms. This had started with an effort in Canada with the team there called Cadillac Live. So it was a live showroom that any customer could access through a virtual chat. So you could call up anytime, go on, there would be an actual live person with a camera who could do a walk around of any vehicle. They were extremely well informed. Chevy actually just launched Chevy My Way, which is their virtual showroom, which does the same thing. And we're seeing enormous take up on it. It's really exciting. I think it's really good. And the best part of it is it's really seamless with the dealer experience. The dealers love it and very much embrace it because it allows customers who are looking for extra information or some details to have access to that on their hours, at their comfort. And then it's a seamless transition to the dealerships when the customer says that they are interested in that. So I think we all have to remain agile. If there's anything we've learned is that something's going to come at us no matter what, every year. That's a challenge that we have to figure out. So I'm really, I think we're fortunate at GM. We have an incredible group in purchasing and supply chain that's really helping us in manufacturing to figure out the best solutions and make sure we prioritize in the right way to get through this. And I'm confident we will get through it. There are probably several different layers to it. At least that's how we think of it. There is first the part of starting the movement so that people realize that the experience of an EV is very different than what they might think they know about an EV. Then there are specific things that we want to do about helping people understand how easy it is to install a charging station at their home, or find charging stations, or develop that. It's the EVs are not that complicated overall once you get a few of those basics. So things like Chevy My Way will really help us have outreach and do that one-to-many education when people are interested in learning. And it will be a continuous, I think it's a continuous effort that has to happen. It's not a one-time thing. There won't be a one-time discussion. We just need to keep working with everyone from this day forward. I think as we think about, here's how I think about it. Marketing in the future really does become about the customer experience that you offer. And it's an exchange of value of permissions and people being willing to engage with you, which then allows you to then go back and do the targeting. And I think what you're seeing from our approach, we're expanding the way that we do that overall. OnStar just launched something called the OnStar Guardian app. It allows you to take OnStar with you wherever you are, whether you have a GM vehicle or not. So I think it's, you know, really expanding the way we think about our interactions and engagements with consumers, how we do that, and then of course, in terms of the specific data targeting, building in alternative approaches that take into the upcoming IDFA changes, all the cookie loss, et cetera. Yeah, old school, back to, you know, the core is how many people we actually get to convert to a sale. That is the ultimate still, to keep it very simple. We're still looking at web activities and brand sentiment metrics for sure. We look at opinion consideration. We look at distinctiveness on the brand and how people understand that. But all that has to ladder up to the process of actually converting into a sale. So we keep it pretty simple on that. And that's where we've actually been able to measure overall what we're seeing out of a media buy that we did with high propensity audiences versus what we would have done with general targeting audiences. We're really looking at what happens. We're doing incredible A/B testing and test and learn constantly so that we can continue to look at that. We did one of our launches, reveals on Twitch for Hummer. That was really interesting and exciting. We've entered the gaming space. You're seeing something now with Chevy and TikTok. So we're looking at all the different ways where our customers, or places where our customers are, following them there. But I think then the next step is to use it authentically. We all know that. I keep going back to our basic lessons of marketing 101, you know, find the new channels, follow your customer where they are, but have an authentic conversation while you're there and make sure you do it on their terms, not on your terms. In terms of our media channels and capabilities on how do we once again expand the number of diversity owned businesses, how do we support that? So at overall at GM, our teams from Heather Stewart's group and from Kara have worked together on something called an initiative called Booker, which really is looking at radio and how we can help promote. Chevy has done an amazing partnership with Ozzy and Carlos Watson, which is called Real Talk, Real Change, and starts promoting the discussion and the conversation overall so that we can all learn from it and do better for it. Our Cadillac brand has really made some strong advancements in this. So in auto, you know, one of the few industries that has tier 1, tier 2, tier 3, there's a lot of good about that, but there's a lot of inefficiencies. So as we look at the tier 1 efforts, we're actually working through the tier 2, our regional buying for sure, and then tier 2 on also using the high propensity audiences so that we can be very targeted and then also make sure that we're not over serving or over engaging with someone. We all know how irritating that can be. So, we want to get to exactly the right mix and the right points on that. But we've seen the efforts that Cadillac has started doing. It's really, really great. We're seeing increased effectiveness as we expand the use of those high propensity targets. So all in a good thing. And it was a great question because that is clearly the next natural evolution. This is an incredible time for innovation and creativity. I think, we've been debating for years, will data kill creativity or does it completely change it? And I think what we're seeing is that it actually enhances it as we get better at it. And as we understand that it still is the human empathy and interaction engagement, but done in a really smart way that makes a big difference.